It has the feel and appearance of maybe a short-term camp, probably a hunting camp, either in the winter or the summertime. People didn't spend a whole lot of time here, probably treated this as a camp where they could go out and hunt and then bring it back, process it just enough to go back to their camp or their families, or maybe even just a short-term camp while they were in transit from one place to the other. So the site that Andy Tremaine was working on is located up on the northwest corner of the lake. The site that I'm working with is the Matcharak Peninsula site down in the southeast corner of the lake on a prominent peninsula. Both sites are unique in part for the same reasons. Andy's site, the Matcharak Lake site, had a lot of animal bones, faunal remains, that were very well preserved in large quantity of them. And up until that point, at least in Alaska, there just weren't sites associated with Denby technology that had these large quantities of faunal remains that were so well preserved. We've got a similar thing happening at the Matcharak Peninsula site, which is an abundance of well-preserved animal remains and associated with northern archaic technology that has just been more or less absent of faunal remains of organic materials that were preserved along with the stone tools, with just the exception of a few sites throughout Alaska that have yielded single digits of identifiable bone fragments. That makes this a very unique site. Northern archaic sites are very different than some of the sites that we find elsewhere in northern Alaska. These Paleo-Indian sites, these Denali, Nenana sites that you find down in the south. The technology is very different, which probably represents differences in the way not only people were hunting things, but what they were hunting as well, and differences in how people moved around, how and when people staged certain types of camps. This is a microblade core. We found numerous microblades at the Matcharak Peninsula site. This is another feature found in these northern archaic sites. One thing that always gets me is a lot of people want to talk about the primitive people from 7,000 years ago. To make something like this would have been commonplace for them, but I mean, I couldn't make something like this. This is the base to a side-notched point. Its actual function may have been for a spear or an atlatl dart, or some people have suggested possibly arrows even. And these start popping up about 7,000 years ago throughout Alaska. This is a key diagnostic feature to this northern archaic technology. And we have 2 of these that we found so far at the Peninsula site. And so this can help us understand potentially what was happening at this site and try to understand how technology was organized, not just at the site, but perhaps through other sites throughout Alaska, or at least in the Brooks Range.